Hi, I'm Chris Peters and welcome to the early 21st century. In the year 2016 we have hoverboards, flying cars and even lightsabers. While the 21st century is a little underwhelming when compared to the movies, there has been a massive change in our social culture and its link to education. Today we are going to be talking about literacies, specifically how the 21st century has changed our social world and therefore our teaching and learning practices. Let's back up to the origin of literacy. Unsurprisingly, the word derives from Latin literatus, meaning educated, learned, or one who knows the letters. Jump forward a few centuries and to be literate meant to be acquainted with literature, or one who could read and write. But the word literacy isn't really that old, only really having surfaced in the mid-1920s. Even now in the 21st century, literacy is changing yet again, demanding citizens to be multi-literate. To be literate is more than just the ability to read and write. Anstey describes the characteristics of a multi-literate person being one who can interpret, use and produce electronic, live and paper text that employ linguistic, visual and auditory systems for social, cultural, political, civil and economic purposes in socially and culturally diverse contexts. Often when we look at news in education, we are overwhelmed by a literacy crisis! This typically relates to students not meeting academic standards and falling grades. This literacy crisis is more than just a select few individuals not pulling their weight, but rather focuses around deeper social and political dilemmas. Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of the United Nations, stated, "Literacy unlocks the door to learning throughout life, is essential to development and health, and opens the way for democratic participation and active citizenship." It is therefore important to provide opportunities to advance society through literacy to all citizens and students. Teachers do this through a thing called pedagogy. Pedagogy is a teaching and learning relationship that creates potential for building learning conditions through a full and equitable social participation. While we all don't have flying cars, our technology is unimaginable when compared to tech that was even around 30 years ago. This advancement of technology opens up different ways in which we communicate. New information doesn't just come from traditional books anymore, but can come from different forms such as written, electronic, digital, oral, visual, blogs, tweets, posts, snaps, videos and carrier pigeons. 21st century teachers need to implement these different forms within the pedagogy they use in their classroom. Students use this technology in their social worlds. For the first time in history, students and even children can use this technology to develop their own understanding instead of relying solely on the adults or teachers within their life. In their social world, students can actively seek new information. Let's say a student is playing Minecraft, a popular open world RPG. In this game, the player needs to collect and build items to advance. A quick Google search and there are millions of blogs, posts, videos and articles all providing tips and tricks. Players have used their multiliteracy skills to become better at the game. This simple game has been adapted for education with the creation of Minecraft Education, where teachers can create and modify virtual worlds containing their own puzzles, riddles and problem-solving tasks. Students also use technology to keep informed in their social world, using social media apps such as Facebook, Snapchat and Instagram to name a few. Therefore, in these changing times come changing literacies, with teachers of the 21st century using different pedagogies to develop multi-literate students. One way of doing this within a school is to adopt a STEAM framework. Within my educational organisation, we recognise the importance of developing multi-literate students to venture into the 21st century. Therefore, using the acronym STEAM, we acknowledge that just like in the real world, all subjects and topics are related to each other. S is for science, T is for technology, E is for engineering, A is for arts, M is for mathematics. Shifting to a STEAM perspective means understanding learning in context, not only in terms of having a framework that illustrates where the subjects overlap, but also in providing a living and adaptable learning structure for the ever-changing personal and global development. STEAM is showing success in schools all around the world to better teach academic and life skills in a standards-backed, reality-based, personally relevant, exploratory learning environment. I've placed some links in the description below. Let's look at some examples of how this program develops multiliteracies within a school. In a Year 5 class, students could be covering the unit of space. In the first few weeks, the teacher explicitly teaches the key concepts using their multiliteracy skills, using videos, blogs and other texts, then sets an investigation task to further their understanding. Within the investigation, students will explore the science of space travel, look at current technology, and were then tasked to engineer an improved spaceship. They created their own model using their artistic talent and then looked at mathematical problems such as how fast a rocket can travel. This investigation involved all areas of STEAM to promote a reality-based, personally relevant and exploratory learning environment where students' literacy skills are further developed. By setting a task that caters to these 5 areas allows students to identify the connections between subjects rather than seeing them as standalone lessons. This connection across the lessons helps students develop a deeper understanding of content, along with advancing their social, personal and academic skills. This STEAM framework is not just isolated to a primary school, but can be also adapted into senior classes. In this example, we will look at senior physical education students who were studying skill acquisition. To develop this knowledge, students were tasked to construct, organise and oversee the school's junior primary sports day. Under the STEAM framework, students address the psychology and physical science of skill acquisition, use technology to communicate with each other in preparation for the event, as well as promoting the day throughout the school community. Students engineered age-appropriate events such as frisbee throws and obstacle courses in place of the traditional athletic sports involved in the sports day. Students also work with the junior primary students to artistically create banners and decoration, as well as a playlist of music to create a fun atmosphere for all involved. Finally, students use their mathematical skills to develop timetables and scoring methods. Following the STEAM framework allowed students to see the real-world application of sport within the community. Senior students developed their multiliteracy skills as they took on various tasks required to run the day successfully. This is only one example of how students within the school can develop their multiliteracy skills, made relevant by presenting them a real-world situation. This task required students to think critically about how they were going to achieve their goal and its various methods of delivery. The open nature of the task put the power into the students' hands to develop their own understanding, with the teacher guiding them rather than telling them exactly what to do. The key to developing literate students of the 21st century is to adopt a pedagogy that caters to students in the real world, where they can see relevance. Today we looked at what it was to be literate and its evolution over time, as well as how these multiliteracies impact students in their social world. Finally, we looked at teaching and learning practices under the STEAM framework. I'm Chris, and until next time.
A school of tomorrow for the children of today. In the commerce class, for example, there's no frantic squabbling over one battered old typewriter. They've got a battery of 36 new machines.